Hi, I'm Detective Incognito, and I explore events that challenge what we know about our current world. What you're about to hear will change the way you see life. Welcome to another investigation. Picture this: Silicon Valley, late evening. A software engineer stares at his screen, hands trembling. His CEO just sent him a message that would change everything. The request seemed simple at first. Just run this code. Deploy this feature. Execute these commands. But something felt wrong. Deeply wrong. What happens when the code you're asked to write could destroy millions of lives? This is the story of engineers who faced an impossible choice, and the consequences that followed. If you're ready to discover what really happened behind closed doors in some of tech's biggest scandals, hit that subscribe button, because understanding these true stories might be the most important lesson in technology ethics you'll ever learn. Let's dive into the evidence. In 2021, Patrick Vover worked as a software engineer at Frank, a student financial aid startup valued at $175 million. His CEO, Charlie Javis, approached him with an unusual request. Frank claimed to have 4 million users, an impressive number that caught Morgan Chase's attention during acquisition talks. But there was one problem. Those users didn't exist. Javis asked Vover to create synthetic data, to fabricate millions of fake accounts that would validate her claims to the bank. Historical records show Vover's response was immediate and clear. "I would not do anything illegal." He refused. Javis didn't stop there. She hired an external data scientist for $105,000 to build what prosecutors later called a sophisticated fraud machine. The fabricated dataset fooled Morgan initially, leading to a $175 million acquisition. But the discovery came swiftly. Evidence uncovered during the trial revealed emails, Slack messages, and testimonies that painted a complete picture of deliberate deception. Vover's decision to say no saved him from prosecution. But not every engineer had that clarity when facing similar pressure. Nishad Singh joined FTX in 2017 as Director of Engineering, building one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges alongside Sam Bankman-Fried. By 2022, FTX managed billions in customer deposits, and Singh oversaw critical systems that controlled money flow. In September 2022, Singh made a discovery that researchers later described as one of the most significant fraud revelations in financial technology history. He learned that $13 billion in customer funds had been secretly diverted to Alameda Research, Bankman-Fried's trading firm. The funds were gone, used for risky investments, political donations, and luxury real estate. Singh knew, but he stayed silent. 2 months later, FTX collapsed, wiping out accounts belonging to more than 1 million people worldwide. During his 2023 testimony, Singh stated, "I felt betrayed that 5 years turned out to be so evil." He explained he had always been intimidated by Bankman-Fried, a formidable character whose influence seemed impossible to challenge. Singh didn't write the fraudulent code himself. He approved transactions, reviewed systems, and maintained the infrastructure that enabled the scheme. His cooperation with prosecutors saved him from prison, but researchers suggest that silence in fraud cases carries consequences as severe as direct action. The question remained: when does witnessing become complicity? In 2020, Pollen, a UK-based travel membership company, faced mounting financial pressure. Customers had prepaid for trips that couldn't happen due to pandemic restrictions. Instead of issuing refunds, executives devised another plan. Internal communications retrieved during liquidation proceedings reveal that a senior engineer received direct instructions from the CEO to execute a payment script. The code would charge customers 2 to 3 times for the same bookings, without authorization or notification. Evidence shows the engineer ran a test 1 day before production deployment. ensuring the double charging mechanism functioned correctly. This wasn't an accident or a bug. It was a deliberate experiment in extracting funds from vulnerable customers. Production code in payment systems typically requires multiple reviews, security checks, and approval chains. The fact that this script bypassed standard protocols indicates coordinated effort, rather than isolated action. When Pollen collapsed in 2022, investigators uncovered messages confirming the engineer had executed the code. As requested by the CEO, thousands of customers lost their money. Studies indicate these weren't isolated incidents, but symptoms of a deeper phenomenon within startup culture: pressure to prioritize growth and survival over legal and ethical boundaries. The phenomenon of engineers executing forbidden code extends beyond startups. In 2015, Volkswagen faced one of the largest corporate scandals in automotive history. Engineers had written software that detected when vehicles were undergoing emissions testing, automatically reducing pollution output during tests, while releasing up to 40 times the legal limit during normal driving. 11 million cars worldwide contained this defeat device. The code was elegant, sophisticated, and completely illegal when authorities discovered the fraud. Consequences followed swiftly. A Volkswagen engineer received 40 months in federal prison. An executive was sentenced to 7 years. The company paid over $30 billion in fines and settlements. Fast forward to 2025. Charlie Javis, the Frank CEO who commissioned fake user data, received 85 months in prison. Nishad Singh, who remains silent about FTX fraud, received no prison time due to his cooperation with investigators. Scientists still debate where the line exists between following orders and criminal complicity. The historical record shows a pattern. Engineers who refuse illegal requests avoid prosecution, while those who comply, even under pressure, face severe legal consequences. The code itself becomes evidence, a permanent record of intention and action. Researchers studying corporate fraud have identified common factors that lead engineers to execute code they know is wrong. Intimidation ranks highest. Singh described feeling powerless against Bankman-Fried's forceful personality. Financial incentive follows closely. Singh held 6 to 7% equity in FTX when it was valued at $30 billion, making him a paper billionaire. The fear of losing that wealth, that status, that perceived future, creates psychological pressure that overrides ethical training. Studies from Stanford's computer science ethics program indicate that engineers often rationalize their participation by minimizing personal responsibility. I'm just writing code. Someone else will deploy it. It's not my decision to make, but legal precedent suggests otherwise. The engineer who executes the code shares responsibility for its consequences, regardless of who ordered it. Organizational culture plays a crucial role. In companies where dissent is punished, where loyalty is valued above ethics, where moving fast means breaking things, including laws, engineers face impossible choices. The evidence shows that these environments don't create bad engineers. They create situations where good engineers make devastating decisions. Every line of code carries a choice. Patrick Vover chose to say no and walked away unscathed. Nishad Singh chose silence and testified in court. Unnamed engineers at Pollen and Volkswagen chose compliance and faced legal consequences. The historical record teaches us that code isn't neutral. It embodies human decisions, values, and intentions. Researchers suggest the question isn't whether the code will work, but whether it should exist at all. This remains one of technology's unsolved mysteries. Where does innovation end and accountability begin? The engineers who built these systems weren't criminals when they started. They were talented professionals who faced pressure, made choices, and learned difficult lessons. Understanding their stories isn't about judgment. It's about preparation, because somewhere right now, another engineer is staring at their screen, reading a request that feels wrong. And the next chapter of this story is being written in real time. If understanding these cases has sparked your scientific curiosity about ethics in technology, join this journey. More stories await, more lessons to uncover. Because in the end, the most important code we write isn't in our repositories. It's in the choices we make when nobody's watching. If you liked, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and activate the bell. Leave your opinion in the comments to let me know what you thought. Thanks for sticking around, and see you in the next video.